I think a lot of people are wondering how you ended up in the United States, right? Because
Mhm.
you can't just walk out of North Korea very easily. In fact, now it's almost impossible now. You don't hear about people escaping now because the
No.
border's been fortified by China and North Korea, from what I understand.
Yeah, North Korea literally put the country can afford electricity, puts the highly electrified wire fences on entire border of North Korea. So the entire country became a concentration camp.
Mhm.
Not only that, they put the machine, I mean, with the machine guns with the guards every 10 meters, and
Every 10 meters.
on top of that, they buried the landmines.
Oh, that's really extreme. So the border's more fortified now. I don't wanna get
Mm-hmm.
too tied down in that.
Mm.
How do most people escape in the past? How did most people escape from North Korea
Most people escaped in 90s
in the
when
90s?
the Great Famine began.
Mhm.
So that's when the regime also Kim Jong Un didn't actually really care. I mean, if they don't want to stay here, why would you not let them like go, right? So he's like, okay, let them go, and he was fine with that. But then he realized these people not just only go China, they go to South Korea,
Mhm.
they go to America, they go to other countries, and they became wait what they thought they're exposing us now. Right, that's how North Korean defector came out and giving the testament to the UN, State Department, the White House.
Yeah, doing what you're doing.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So they were like exposing the regime. So now North Korea is keep condemned by the UN about the human rights situation. So now they're like, okay, no, we cannot let the defectors escape anymore. And also North Koreans, when they go, they don't just escape. They go and they make money and send the money back to their family members. Nobody in North Korea escapes saying, I'm gonna have a good life myself. They escape because they can sacrifice themselves and make money and send it back to North Korea and their family members. So then when they send money, they don't just get money, they get information.
Right.
And that is where like the biggest killer for the regime, like their lies being exposed.
Right, of course. Because if I escape from North Korea and I'm a waiter in South Korea and I'm sending back the annual salary that my family makes every month and it's only part of my income and I have a low level job, people start to go, wait a minute. So he works at a restaurant in South
Yeah.
Korea and he's basically a millionaire compared to how we are. We got to get out of here, right? That's not good. And then word travels fast. Like, how come that family bought a new, has a car now or whatever, right? It's a whole
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Yeah. So that's really changed the system. So they stopped the defection. And that's when, so eventually they started putting the more pressure on the border. But when Kim Jong Un took over, oh my God, I mean, how can he be worse than his father? But he was a lot worse,
Yeah.
apparently. He was a lot evil.
So how did you escape from the DPRK? I think a lot of people. By the way,
Yeah.
if I say North Korea or DPRK, does it matter?
It
It
matters
matters.
because the
Okay.
DPRK is a Democratic People's.
Right. It's a joke of a name. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what North Korea wants to be called.
Oh, okay. Well, then
Right, it's
screw
like
them. North
yeah,
Korea.
North Korea. So, I mean, I don't really care about it. When it comes to that, I think that I don't wanna respect the regime at
No.
all.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah. So I crossed a frozen river from North Korea to China, and that was actually right before the wire fences went up. So
Okay.
I got very lucky.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Charles Rue told me he basically swam through a river and they
Yeah.
were shooting at him, but they
Yeah.
probably either didn't have enough bullets or they couldn't see him.
Yeah.
And so he made it out as well.
Mhm.
Now it seems impossible.
No, it's impossible. And also when you go to China, Chinese also border is like very secure. Like back then, they were like, okay, there are poor people coming over. Maybe we give them some food and then they're gonna go back, right? Usually they did. They go to China. When North Koreans escape from North Korea, we are not like Syrian or like Mexican refugees. There's a democracy somewhere that we wanna
Mhm.
go where the freedom is, right? We're starving. So we just wanna go somewhere they give us food. And if we get food, we wanna go back to our homeland.
Mhm.
So a lot of North Koreans did and go to China, beg the food, and come home and feed their family members and their friends. And China had no problem with it, but then they also saw that how North Korean women were going after and then started condemning the human trafficking that they face. So China also, North Korea complained to them. This is our national security issue. If you let the North Koreans go out, it hurts us. So can you catch them, send us back? That's how,
Right. So
yeah.
China wants a buffer state between South Korea and the United States presence in South Korea,
Hmm.
and North Korea is that buffer state. And also, I think tell me if you agree with this. There's an element of the Chinese Communist Party saying hey, you think we're terrible, but at least we're not North Korea. Look how bad it is over there. And as long as that regime exists, they can sort of say, like, we're the only ones who can control them.
But that's the thing. They are using it as a leverage with the USA because North Korea is only served by China. Right, North Korea only exists because of China.
Sure, yeah.
Like Kim Jong Un cannot exist without Xi Jinping. So when the US want to discuss about North Korea's threat, they have to go back Chinese. So that's why they are using it as a leverage, diplomatic leverage. That is.
It's so sociopathic to me that there are politicians going, we're just going to let all these people suffer because it keeps this guy in power, which keeps us from having to worry about other
Mm.
issues. It's
Yeah.
just so crazy to me that even is. It just sort of shows you like how much bullshit we tell ourselves about caring about the integrity of people and like human rights. I mean, it's just pure
It's
nonsense.
laughable.
Yeah.
It's just a joke.
It's pure not like we can see the concentration camps. We know that there are people in there that are miserable. We have countless accounts of this, and it's like, oh well, we'll talk about it again maybe later.
Yeah, I mean, Kim Jong Un this year said like 11 million of his population are severely malnourished. He's not even bothered to lie at this point. He used to lie, like, oh, look at us, we're a happy, strong country. Like this year, it's like, yeah, they're starving, so what?
Wow,
It's
just
like, exactly. It's like, yeah, so what?
no accountability at
No.
all anymore.
No.
Yeah, not that there ever
They don't
really
even
was.
pretend.
Right, no, yeah, no pretense.
But
Yeah.
you don't have to pretend anymore. Because what can you do? We got the nukes. We have the power, so what can you do?
My God. How did you get the idea to escape? Was it
I-
just you were hungry, right?
I was hungry, and then if you see North Korea at night from the satellite picture, it's like the darkest place in the world. It got no electricity. So in the border town, I was looking at Chinese side, and they had the lights coming out, and they had a high road, like ways where cars going by. So we also had the rumors in North Korea saying that China dogs eat rice. Like so, Kim Il Sung promised us that I'm gonna make sure that my people are gonna eat white rice with the meat stew.
Meat stew, okay.
Yeah, so all North Korean wanted all their life and dying for the revolution was eat the white rice and the meat stew. It wasn't like we want to get private jet.
Right, yeah. The bar's pretty low, right?
Very, very low, right? Any country in like some southern East Asia, they can feed all these people.
Yeah.
Chicken and like rice. That's like nothing. And that's what we promised. And that's the communists cannot achieve that dream at all. They're so poor. So in North Korea, so we heard that like dogs eat white rice in China, and I thought like the most bizarre thing I've ever heard. How on earth there's a place that dog eats rice, right?
Right. Like how can that be?
How can that be? It's like almost like somebody telling you, "Oh, there aliens came and took you, and then they come visit you every night." Like that kind of a most absurd thing you hear.
Right. Like
Mhm.
why would you feed a dog rice? It just doesn't compute.
Yeah, no, I mean in North Korea, dogs eat poop. Literally, that's how they survive.
Yeah, and then people try and steal it from them to get their poop
Yeah,
quota, as you
exactly.
mentioned.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So you're hungry and you just say, "Hey, look, if they've got electricity and cars, they probably have food," right?
That's what I thought. And I guessed maybe there's a food, but it's like I was watching this documentary the other day about like 9/11. There were people were jumping out of that building. Exactly that situation. I don't know if I jump out, there is a life for me. But what can you do? The burning is burning, and
Right.
burning like you have no way out. So you gotta jump and see what happens. That's
And
how North Koreans do it.
that's how you felt. Just
Of course,
I might
it's
die doing this, but I'm definitely gonna die hungry here. So
yeah. I mean, there's like no chance of me surviving in that country if I didn't escape. So why don't I just jump and see what happens?
wow. And so how did you hatch the plan?
I had an older sister. I was 13 and I had a sister who was 16 in 2007. She escaped first, few days before me, and she left me a note saying, "Go find this lady. She's gonna help you." So I went to her with my mom, and then she said, like, "Yeah, I can help you to go to China." But I like, so desperate. It was no point of me even asking her, "Why are you helping me?"
Right. And also, if you already don't trust anyone, this is a desperate sort of Hail Mary move anyways.
Yeah.
So why bother getting the details, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter even she kills me.
Right.
I'm dead anyway. Like it didn't occur to me. I had to ask her, why are you helping me? So because you're so desperate, like whatever thing gonna get you out, you wanna get out.
Wow. Okay. And you end up being trafficked and sold in China, and the whole story is in the book, by the way, which we'll link in the show notes. I'm not gonna make you go through it again because you do talk about it a lot in other shows as well. But this situation is, by all accounts, horrifying and harrowing, and you end up having to sell your own mother for food. It's just like the sneak preview is it's some of the most terrible things that you can imagine happening, and it happens over and over and over. And the people that you meet are all universally exploiting you and everyone who they come into contact with. It's like this is like the underbelly of sort of Chinese mafia human trafficking, right? So how do you eventually get away from that situation?
So when North Korean men go to China, because of the one-child policy, right now there are 40 million men cannot find women, especially in the rural areas, and that numbers keep going up. So women being sold into 4 different places. One is human trafficking, is where you're sold to a man in the village who have a disability or crazy or whatever it is. So sometimes they buy one girl and rotate entire town or rotate entire brothers in that family,
Oh, wow.
cousins.
So you're basically a sex slave at
Of
that point,
course.
not like a regular wife.
No, no, you're not a wife. They watch you when you go to bathroom.
Mm.
They don't want you to run away.
Oh,
So
man.
that's one. Second place is where the prostitution. They put you, these brothels get raped like 20 times a day. And then women refuse, so they give you drug. So they make you become drug addict. So women just do it because they want a drug. So you have get raped 20, 30 times a day in these like brothels. Third is where you go to organ harvesting.
Mhm.
No, China is the biggest exporter of organs.
Yeah, I did a whole show about this.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
they also use North Koreans just kill them and take the organs out. The last place is a chat room, where these brokers put in setting in this facility where they lock the door and putting these girls in front of the cam, and the customers are South Koreans, and then show their body sex cam.
Mhm.
So among the 4, what would you choose?
I mean, like, all jokes aside, I would obviously choose the cam girl option
Exactly.
because at least I'm not getting touched by.
Touch. You actually get raped by
Right.
people. Nobody comes to your room, right? You
Right.
just show them your body. So I chose that.
Yeah.
I initially was sold by a man. I was raped, and then at the end of the journey, I was finally able to go to chat room. There, I heard about South Korea, and I heard that there is a way out of China,
But you already knew South Korea existed, right?
but not like 대한민국, like 남조선, like southern of North Korea. They are fighting the language so much. So Joseon is Korea, like it's the South Korea. They call North Korea like 북조선, like north of Korea.
Okay.
South Korea, but their name is 대한민국, and we call them like south of North Korea.
Really? So
So
North Korea just calls South Korea Southern North Korea.
yeah,
That's
so
ridiculous.
and North Korea, South Korea calls them like northern South Korea.
Oh gosh. This
So
is
the
like
language difference was
Yeah.
huge, and then I did not know that I was a North Korean. They said that in North Korea told me I'm a 조선 사람. Did you hear the 조선?
Yeah, I've heard that
조선
word.
yeah, so Joseon is what we knew of. So South Korea did not have the name Joseon at all. It has like 대한민국. It's like, what the heck is 대한민국, right? I did not that was like our southern part of North Korea was. And then I was talking to these people, and they said, like, I'm from 대한민국. I was like, what is 대한민국? And then we had a defector friend who was working in the chat too. And she said, I know the missionaries. And then if you go study Bible with them, and then they're gonna help us to escape to South Korea. So that's that was by then I was 15 years old.
15.
Yeah. So I
And
was there in 2 years in China.
2 years.
Hmm
2 years of unspeakable sort of treatment, and then Bible study. And this is your introduction to sex, right? You said before you had no idea the concept of sex until your mother was sexually assaulted essentially right in front of you. And then that became your daily existence for those few years. So you're doing this Bible study with the missionaries, and then how do they prepare you to escape? Like, what's their plan?
Pray and fasting.
Pray and fast. Did you tell them you already spent your life fasting and it didn't help?
Yeah. No,
Good God.
a lot of fasting and praying and memorizing the Bible verses.
So there's no practical training for like, here's how you're gonna escape. It's
No,
just
they
like
don't give you physical training. They don't give you gear. They don't give you the right clothing. It's you need a miracle to do it, which is because you are gonna go across the Gobi Desert into Mongolia from China in the -4 degrees.
you're gonna cross the Gobi Desert on foot
In the
and just
-40 degrees.
in -40 degree and just
Yeah.
hope that you end up in Mongolia.
Yeah, and then discovered by human beings in the middle of the Gobi Desert.
What the hell
So
kind of plan is that?
your survival rate is very very low, like 99% you're not gonna make it.
Oh my gosh.
And you're gonna get caught by soldiers, so you need a miracle. That's why they make you pray and truly like waiting for God's sign to go.
This is and I know you help people escape now, and I
Yeah.
assume you have a slightly
Oh,
better
we don't
plan.
use the village. We use cars and transport them to
That sounds like a
Thailand.
good
Yeah, yeah,
idea. Yeah.
yeah. But we didn't have money. These people, we have to use money to transport them, bribe them. But going to Mongolia, you don't need a broker. They just give you a compass. Why don't you walk, follow the north, like the west part, and then cross the 8 wire fences, and hopefully that's gonna be Mongolia or something.
That is just mind-blowing. So you're crossing the Gobi Desert. How long does it take?
It only took 1 day.
One day.
Because we chose the coldest time of the year. So the guards would think like who's gonna be crazy
Oh, I
enough
see.
to, because the other times the security is so tight. I mean, there are guards in China preventing nobody can escape. They're gonna shoot you. So if you choose the coldest time, then even though it's very high secure, the tight border, that's people think, oh, nobody's crazy enough to cross right
Yeah,
now.
they're watching movies and
Yeah,
smoking
it's so
inside.
freezing. They don't want
Yeah.
to go outside even themselves. So we chose that time. And then we crossed 1 day. But the hardest thing in the desert is that you don't know if you're going straight or backwards on the side or like
Yeah.
circle, because nothing tells you, indicates you're going forward.
You just have a compass and you're like, I hope this thing works.
Just it's like in the middle of the ocean.
Right.
Nothing tells you where you're going.
There's no landmarks on the horizon or anything.
Nothing. So
No.
that was like where I shocked. Like I'm not sure if I'm just keep going circle and circle. And now we did the rumors where there's some defectors do that. Go days and circling the same thing again and again, come back to the same spot. So when we go, like, okay, let's leave our stuff here. So when we come back, maybe we came back here. That's how we went. Moved along, leaving some stuff and knowing we've been here. And thankfully we only got discovered next day by Mongolian soldiers.
So the Mongolian soldiers are used to seeing North
North
Koreans
Koreans.
crossing the border over
Yeah.
these wire fences. So then, is it a warm welcome or is it kind of like you just get arrested?
They use a gun, like, put your hands up, right? You cross the border illegally,
Yeah.
so it doesn't matter you're a child or not. And then they told us they're going to send us to China, back, and then send to North Korea.
Which they're not really going to do.
They have done that
They have done that.
because it's so inconvenient for them to go back to base, call the top people, get in South Korea. So much work for them. So if they can hide, I mean, usually South Chinese soldiers don't even bother to arrest you, to shoot them all, and the animals come eat you.
They just shoot you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's like in the border is a shoot to kill order. They don't bother to arrest you. You gotta shoot them if you see any foreign object there. And
God.
so they just don't want to be bothered. Too much work for them. Too much paperwork they have to fill out when we caught them, how we caught them, right? So they just shoot you, and then like animals gonna do the job for them.
That's awful. Okay. So obviously that didn't happen to you. You got taken in by Mongolian military border
Yeah,
guards.
the border guards, and then they said they were going to send us back. So we all gonna kill ourselves, right?
Your plan was to kill yourself.
Oh, I mean, North Koreans, it's like the Jewish people when there was a Holocaust.
Right.
We all ready to die when we get caught. And then they eventually swayed in and helped us to go to South Korea.
The thing that I don't understand and that I can't quite wrap my mind around is they've seen refugees come across the border over and over. It's not like this is the first time they've seen it. I don't know why they can't have a plan for this, or they're saying, "Oh, we're going to send you back." I mean, they must know that what they're doing is heartless and cruel, and they just don't care.
Yeah, I mean, for them, this like it's fun. It's so
fun,
fun
yeah.
for seeing people begging for their life and so
That's-
desperate, so scared. I mean, that's the thing. Human nature is horrible. When humans are not being educated and civilized, you can become barbarians. And this is the thing about human nature that, people, not the special people, became the guards in the concentration camp during the Nazi Germany. Normal people did that. And I think that's why we need to aware of our nature. that these kids were just never knew what compassion was, I guess. So it was really fun for them, and we didn't get killed, but one of my mom's friends, she swallowed a pierce, and then they after had to take her to hospital, and then she never came back fully after
Oh,
that.
so she
Yeah,
tried because she thought they were gonna send her back, so she
yeah, because that's what they said.
right.
So a
Oh,
lot
that's
of
just pure
yeah,
evil.
yeah.
What separates you, someone who escaped North Korea, versus somebody who decides to stay? What do you think the difference is?
And somebody, if they can afford to staying behind, I guess like they were not as desperate as me. For me was, if I didn't escape, I would not even made a few more days there because I just didn't have
So
food.
you weren't thinking like freedom, you're just thinking rice,
Just food.
food,
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, you know, getting starved is worse than being raped. The worst torture is being starved. Because if you don't eat, you die. And before you die from starvation, you hallucinate. You lose your mind. That's how most undignified way of dying from starvation. That's why cannibalism happening in North Korea, because they hallucinate.
Cannibalism.
Yeah, so some mothers eat their children because they thought their children were dogs. Because they go crazy when you don't eat. And then they wake up and then like, what happened to my child? And then they just
Oh
ate.
man.
It's real stories.